Hi everyone, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year wrap-up, mid-year book freakout tag, and we're going to talk about all the books that are the best so far and the disappointments, all that jazz. So stick around if you'd like to see that. Be sure to like, subscribe down below for more bookish content from me. Let's just get into the tag. So the first question is, of course, the best book of the year, but I have to give you multiple options because I read so many subgenres. I feel like I have to give you the best and then give you the best of the subgenres. So the best book of the year so far is hands down Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This is a fantasy romance. I know it's going around town right now, so hopefully you've seen something about it. But we follow Saris, our female main character. She is the one perspective in this book. In the beginning, we're in a desert world where water is in very short supply, and she's basically fighting to survive. And she ends up stealing this gauntlet that's super important, and the queen ends up ordering her to be killed. And while she's in this duel with this man who's gonna kill her, she ends up using her alchemy powers to accidentally open a realm to the Fae world, and out pops Shadow Daddy Kingfisher, our love interest, to begrudgingly take her back to the land of Evelia, where we are for the rest of the book, which is a cold and snowy world. So a stark contrast to the beginning of the book in that desert world. And you get to learn more about the politics about this war and how she is going to come into play with her alchemy powers. And it's so good. It's so much fun. The world building is chef's kiss, and it's so easy to follow, which I find some fantasy romance can be hard to follow. Like When the Moon Hatched was one of my favorites as well, but that book is a lot more confusing and it takes a lot more brain power to kind of create the world in your head. This one is still so vivid in my head. I really trusted Callie Hart because she's a dark romance writer, so I was so excited to pick this one up because I knew that it might fit my taste even more because she is a dark romance author. And I actually saw on her TikTok page that she was worried about that transition because she wasn't sure if her dark romance readers would be a fan of her transitioning to that or if it would work out. But let me tell you, if your tastes align with mine at all, pick this one up. It is so good and it's worth every single page. I would read more if I could. Kingfisher was the best book boyfriend, and the banter in here was spectacular. And some of the quotes that he says that I highlighted are some of my favorite quotes of the whole year so far, and I just really think this one is going to live up to be the best book of 2024. And it also has amazing side characters that you grow to really love. And there's more creatures involved, spiders, vampires. Now I have to mention the runner-up as my fantasy romance fave because I'm cheating a little bit. When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, definitely a top contender of the year so far. The reason why Quicksilver won out was just because of the writing style. I feel like Quicksilver was a lot more easy to understand. The world building was a little bit easier as well. And this one just took a lot more brain power, like I said before. But it was also an epic romance and a star-crossed lovers situation. We have a world with dragons, so that was really fun. And we have a really badass female main character in this one as well. She's an assassin. And I really fell in love with this story after being skeptical in the first like 100 pages. Then for contemporary romance, I have Savor It by Tara DeWitt. This book really won my heart over, and I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting like, oh, this will be a fun read, but I wasn't expecting to cry and be so happy and just love these characters so much. We follow a small town girly and a chef as he comes into this small town from a big city. He worked at a Michelin star restaurant, and now his life just kind of is in chaos because his sister has passed away. He is now the guardian for his sister's daughter, and she's a teenager. So it's a lot of misunderstandings and grieving and what that looks like. So that adds that heavier hitting layer to it. And then our female main character, Sage, is just out of a breakup and her ex is getting married. And there's this summer competition in the small town that he always wins, and she really wants to win this year. So you can guess what's gonna happen. She's gonna team up with Fisher, that's the main character's name. And it has such good banter. The third act is so well done and not annoying in any way. There's a little dash of fake dating. It's like friends with benefits to lovers, and they start out kind of bickering. So it's just such a fun dynamic throughout the whole book. And I have two of my favorite quotes from this book here. Time will always give the best advice. Take care of your moments and the years will follow suit. And you once told me you thought you were a lot of knots. I want you to know that to me, you're everything. And that sounds cheesy at first, right? When it's out of context. But when you're reading this book, that quote hits so hard because you fall in love with Sage and she's so relatable. I will be picking up every book that this author releases at this point because of this read right here. All right, lastly, I want to give you my dark romance top read of the year, which is Hills of Shiver and Shadows by Pam Godwin. I've talked about this one a lot, so I won't go too much into it, but it's very dark, lots of triggers, but I really thought it was so well written. It's a survival story as much as it is a triggering dark romance. We follow our female main character as she's abducted by this man named Denver, and you don't know why, you don't really know what's going on, but he goes to great lengths to get this woman, and he brings her back to the secluded snowy mountain that is very hard to survive in, and lo and behold, there's 3 sons there that he also has, and she's like, oh my god, not only do I have to deal with Denver, but I also have these 3 sons that also look scary. So she learns more about them and their survival stories and kind of what's going on this mountain, and it's very disturbing. Like, it just got more and more disturbing as it went on. I thought going into this that it would be kind of like a Credence dupe, and I was really excited about that because there were brothers involved and there was a mountain, very Credence-esque. No, this is a lot darker. So just a warning before you pick that one up, it definitely is one of the darker dark romances that I've read. All right, moving on to best sequel of the year, and I have to give it to Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I went into it pretty open to anything. I really enjoyed Powerless, which I was honestly shocked by when I read it, but this one was definitely my favorite out of the series. Like, I liked it even more than Powerless because it's for the romance girlies. It is definitely for the romance readers. We have just a lot of banter in here. Is there plot? I don't even know because I was just watching Peyton and Kai want to kiss the whole time and enjoying every second of it. But no, this one does have plot. It's mostly Peyton running away from Ilya and Kai chasing after her, and then they get into all these situations where they kind of have fake dating going on in this book, which I found really fun in a fantasy setting, and things go from there. It was honestly pretty high stakes at some scenes, and this one in particular reminded me a lot of Dance of Thieves, because in Dance of Thieves, if I'm remembering correctly, the main characters are kind of like chained together against their will in the book throughout the whole thing pretty much, and that's kind of how this one is. The next question is, what's a book that you really are anticipating but haven't even gotten to yet? And for me, that is Pirate Girls by Penelope Douglas. I've been slacking. I haven't read Pirate Girls yet. One of the reasons is because I kind of wanted to read Falls Boys again to prepare for it, because I don't remember Falls Boys that much, but I also feel like I'll get reminded of things as I read Pirate Girls, so I should just like do it. But I haven't read that one yet, which is shocking. And then another one I've been wanting to read is Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder, and this one just got on my radar, I guess, so I guess it's technically not like super highly anticipated because I just found out about it, but it's definitely one I want to get to. A small town, witness protection program, suspense romance vibes. Next up, we have most anticipated release for the rest of the year, and y'all already know Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas is all that's on my mind. I wake up thinking about Five Brothers. No, but really, like really, I'm so excited. It's coming out this month. But let's talk about a couple more since I've talked about this book all year long. We have The 13th Child, which is a new Erin C. Craig. I got my book signed by her a year ago-ish, and it was so much fun to meet her. And I love her writing style. It has that gothic, romantic kind of prose, and I'm really excited for this one to come out. It's a new book series of hers. I don't know if it's a series or standalone. It has a brooding prince, glittering gothic realms, bargains with ruthless gods, slow burn romance, a masquerade ball, and it's for lovers of romantasy, gothic vibe, and dark fairy tale retellings. And this is a retelling of another Grimm Brothers fairy tale, and that is Godfather Death, which revolves around a young healer. She's the 13th child of her family, left behind in poverty, neglect, and emotional abuse until her godfather, dreaded end itself, Merrick, returns to reveal her unique gift, which comes with a high price. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I love her other books. They're perfect to read in the fall if you haven't read from her yet. And we have a new Jessie Hall coming in August called Green Lights, which I'm super excited for because it's step sibling trope. And that's all I really need to know about it, to be honest. The next question is biggest disappointment of the year so far, and that has to go to Never by Jessa Hastings. Now, I did not read Magnolia Parks, so it wasn't like I was in love with this author and then she disappointed me, which would be even worse. But I was looking forward to this one because it's a Peter Pan retelling, and I had heard so many great things about this author's writing style, about how it's very different from others, and it was just going to be this amazing Peter Pan retelling, and I'm always a sucker for those. So I was really looking forward to this, but I gave this book 1 star. I hate to say hated it, but I definitely hated it. Like, I hated reading it. I didn't like a single moment. And now I will not read any books by this author because I just don't trust them to be good. And so I sold my copy of Magnolia Parks. And that's that on that. Then on to more positive territory. We have biggest surprise of the year so far. And I'm gonna go with a thriller for this one since I don't read a lot of thrillers. I mean, I love the genre and I used to read a lot more of them, but now I don't read a lot of thrillers at all. In fact, I save just like the authors that I know I love, and then I read theirs. And I did read the new Riley Sager book the week it came out, middle of the night, which was such a good book in my opinion. I loved the 90s kind of style. I loved the mystery. I loved the creepiness, and it was just a perfect like suburban thriller. I loved the ending. I loved how there was like this question of, is there paranormal things going on? Or is this like a realistic thriller? I love how Riley Sager does that. If you didn't know what this one was about already, we're following a male main character in this book, which is a new thing for Riley Sager. And this man is going back to his childhood home. And when he gets there, all the memories come flooding back of his life as a child and when his best friend went missing when they were camping out in their backyard. So you get to learn about what really happened that night when his friend went missing and uncover the mystery that is still unsolved as the character does. And it is a wild time with some hard-hitting topics in there as well. And I ended up like almost tearing up at the end because of how this book played out. And it was just kind of a touching thriller in a way. Next we have new favorite author, and this has to go to Sarah A. Parker, who wrote When the Moon Hatched. She also has another series that's a Rapunzel retelling, and it's a dark fantasy that I really need to read. And then we also have Stephanie Archer. She is one that I started reading this year. She writes hockey romances, at least that's what I've read from her. And I really have enjoyed what I have read from her. So she's definitely one that I'll be looking out for new releases from. And then I did mention already Tara DeWitt. I will read anything she puts out. And she just announced her newest title is going to be Wren and Ellis's story. If you read Savor It, you know Wren and Ellis. And it's going to be a second chance romance. And I'm so excited for it because I'm already kind of attached to those characters. And then we have Jessie Hall, which I started reading her books this year. I should have started them a long time ago. The next question is newest crush, and that has to go to Kingfisher from Quicksilver. He was just the perfect fantasy romance male main character, but I'll choose another one just because I've already talked so much about him, and that is the dad from Older by Jennifer Hartman. This man loved our heroine so much. And I think his name was Reed. Yeah, Reed, that was hot. If you like age gap romances and you haven't read that one, get it on your list. Then we have newest favorite character. And this one was kind of hard. I wanted to go with Fisher from Savor It because I really loved him and how he treated our main character, and just his struggles were very relatable, and he himself was very relatable. But I also want to go with Maddie from Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This book was one of my favorites as well. I know I didn't mention it earlier, but I really, really loved this one. I loved the portrayal of platonic friendship. She was a great friend, great bestie energy. And yeah, Maddie definitely gets this one, and I hope that her book is next. I loved how she was an honest friend. She didn't sugarcoat things, but at the same time, you knew she was there and wanted the best for the heroine. And it was just such a good portrayal of female friendship. Next up is a book that made you cry, and this one is so easy for me to pick multiple because I love to cry and it's just a problem. But the most recent one is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. I was definitely emotional in this book. It was just the characters for me. They really got in my chest, and Sage's story just really resonated with me. So that one for sure. This one also talked about living in your hometown and staying there and why sometimes that's what's best for you. And I think that's what got me at the end of this book was the talk about what makes you happy. Why are you so concerned about what other people think? What other people's perception is of you? If it's what makes you happy, then nothing else should matter. That type of thing. The next question is a book that made you happy. And this one I gave to Powerless by Lauren Roberts because it gave me that happy, nostalgic feeling of reading like a 2012 YA fantasy. And I was just really giddy while reading it, and it didn't have like, it's not like it's spicy or anything. It's just like the banter and the tension is there, so it seems spicy. And it was like one of those things where The Cruel Prince is one of my favorite books of all time, and it's not like it's spicy or anything, but it's the tension. You could like pull it out of the air. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It made me happy. Then we have the most beautiful books that you've gotten this year. I have a couple, but I will shout out my most recent purchase, which was the whole Lady of Darkness series. I got the special editions, and oh, they're very beautiful. Like stunning in every single way. They have art everywhere. There's also some overlays in the book themselves that I inserted. And oh my god, yeah. I think I can show this one, but some of them are really naughty. But very excited to read this series. And then the dust jackets here. This is Lady of Starfire. I think it's the 4th book. And then the other side just matches the cover. But yeah, they're shiny and sparkly, and the whole series is the same way, and they have the quotes on the back, and I'm just so excited to read it, and I'm so happy that I got that special edition package. And then my other favorite purchase is the whole Witsex series, which these are the special editions. They have the special edges, and here, I'll show you Find Me. I've showed these before, but I will show them again because why not? But they're so incredibly beautiful in every way. I also love them because I don't really love the original covers. So it was nice to have these nice, beautiful copies of one of my favorite series. The next question is just what books do you really need to read by the end of the year? And you know, I really need to read all of my unread books, which I'm thinking about doing a new series on my channel, and we're gonna go shelf by shelf and do a vlog on all the books that I haven't read by each shelf, and then each video would be one of the shelves of the unread books. But that's a big project, so I don't know if it'll happen this year. But I'm thinking about it for sure, because I have anxiety when I look at my shelves and I look at the books that I haven't read yet. It's like, who am I to have the book trophy when I didn't read the book? So definitely unread books. And then I just need to prioritize reading more. I've been doing a really good job at it, if I do say so myself, for the past like month or so. I think it's because I've been reading so many good books. I mean, the books that I've been reading have been 4 or 5 stars for the past like month. So I've been having a really good reading month, and that definitely makes things easier. But yeah, just prioritizing reading and making sure that every day I allot some time for reading itself. But yeah, that is everything for the mid-year wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe down below for more bookish content from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.